Think about all the items and services you use on a daily basis, from the clothes you wear and the breakfast cereal you eat, to the car you drive and the phone you use. It's likely these are all products of different organizations. You might not normally think of all the processes that produce all of these goods and services, but that is what the study of operations management is all about. Operations are what companies use to transform resources into goods or services. Most of an organization's financial and human resources are invested in operations. So, operations management is critical to any organization's success. The role of operations management is to design, plan, direct, and improve all the activities involved in producing goods or services. Operations management is all about effectively matching supply with demand. Organizations that utilize operations management tools experience significant performance advantage over their competitors. The true definition of operations management is the management of systems or processes that create goods or provide services. But to fully understand operations management, we must first learn its background. Management in general was not very present, if at all, prior to the Industrial Revolution. Although the history of management goes back thousands of years, management in general was never really present until the Industrial Revolution. We had factories full of people and we needed to manage them. The first study of management was efficiency and was appropriately named scientific management. The theory was that A, materials, plus B, labor, equals C, product. The goal of scientific management is to improve the productivity of the individual work. Consultants identified the most efficient and effective ways to work, and managers taught those techniques to all employees. Because employees were paid based on their production, they benefited as the company benefited. Next, a German sociologist named Max Weber came up with bureaucratic management. Max believed in a formal organization with specific rules and tasks for everybody, and layers of reporting level so the manager was distanced from the workers. This is where we came up with the term bureaucracy. Finally, a French mining company owner named Henri Fayol decided it was important to consider the worker and the organization as a whole entity. He came up with administrative management, which focused on the organization working together as a whole, and he defined the manager's role to include planning, organizing, commanding, coordinating, and controlling. Big data refers to data sets that are much too big or complex for the traditional data processing application software to adequately handle. It can often lead to a higher false discovery rate. Donna Green discussed how much the massive growth of technology and the internet have grown over the years and the major effect it is having on people, industries, and big data analytics.
So earlier I spoke about the internet and how it was really changing our lives. And I said that there was something similar happening all around us. And you may not even be aware that it's happening, and it's being driven by big data. Well, what I was really talking about was something very similar happening in the industrial world. So by the year 2020, we expect there to be about 50 billion machines connected to the internet. And by that, I'm not talking about your cell phones, and I'm not talking about your PCs. What I'm talking about is things like trains and wind turbines, things like aircraft and engines, and the big power generating gas turbines. So everything is going to be connected up, measured, and managed that way. And that starts to open up those huge opportunities I was talking about earlier. So we can actually use that data to solve some of society's problems. So what will happen is when your engineer can access data from anywhere and at any time, or when machines can actually look at their own data and learn from it in real time, or learn from other machines similar to them in real time, well then your monitoring and diagnostics really starts to become proactive as opposed to reactive. So I've spoken about big data and I've spoken about the industrial internet, but how do we truly leverage those to get the benefits to society that I was talking about earlier? Well, the missing piece in the puzzle is really analytics. So today, with our advanced analytics in combination with the big data, we're just starting to be able to see things that we couldn't see before. So it allows us to sort the wheat from the chaff in a way. We can see what's anomalous operation in the data. We can see what normal operation looks like. And we can find insights and patterns in the data. And when you use that to create analytics, then you start to be able to predict the future. You can predict when things are going to break. You can predict which ways to operate your machinery in order to get the best efficiency for you. And then when you combine that with the industrial internet and you put those analytics right at the heart of that, and you have those automated and running real time, so then they can continuously evolve and update themselves and continuously update the way that they're actually driving the machines that they're operating on. Well, that's when you really start to gain the efficiencies and the uptime and the better performance out of your assets. And that's how we start to get the benefits to society that I was talking about earlier. But really, to create great analytics very, very quickly in the industrial domain, you need something else. So as a data scientist, it's really my job to create analytics that help us to start to be able to predict failures of parts inside those aircraft engines. And as part of that, I do have an understanding of how aircraft engines work. However, these are really complex and specialized and safety-critical machines. And as such, an engineer can spend their entire career just working and learning about one small piece of that engine. So as data scientists who work across far broader fields, we can't hope or expect to have that knowledge about everything we work on. And I've actually lost count of the number of times that I'll be looking at data and I think, why is it doing that? Is that some strange mode of operation, or is that genuinely a sign of the fault that I'm actually looking for in the data? And that's where our domain experts, having those on hand to actually help us to work out what's a spurious line of inquiry, that actually means your data scientists become more efficient as well.
By using the big data analytics learned from Donna Green, we can see here in this chart the effects that it can have. The eMarketer chart shows they are forecasting a demand of 86.5 million U.S. adult internet users that will use a sharing economy service in the year 2021. Demand forecasting can also be used in determining the percent of full-time independent workers reporting that they used online talent marketplaces to find work, as well as the demand forecast of the age of those individuals. In the following video, we can see that GigNow is a business that effectively uses demand forecasting for the success of their business.
GigNow is an innovative contractor hiring platform that allows us to source, assess, match, and hire contractors to meet business needs. The benefits of GigNow are access to high-quality contractors, reduced cycle time, improved risk management, leveraging powerful analytics, and a significant reduction in costs to find high-quality contractors. What we've heard from contractors, they want three things. Number one, they want access to diverse gigs. Secondly, they want to be welcomed, not just treated as a transaction. And third, they want continuous learning opportunities. Because as a contractor, I've been a contractor several times in my career, if you're not constantly enhancing your skills, you fall out of relevancy. So we understand our contractors' needs. We're offering them diverse gigs. We're offering them a very welcoming environment, and we're offering them learning along the way. I am passionate about GigNow because this is a tech startup within a multi-billion-dollar enterprise. It is very exciting that we're bringing forward many firsts, be it from technology, but also integrating processes and team. So we're leveraging advanced technologies, which includes open source and cloud hosting. We've released over 300 new features since the beginning of the year. We're averaging over 400 new gigs on the site, and that just keeps growing every single day. And we're averaging about another 1,000 contractors joining GigNow every single month. Super exciting. And our clients are hearing about GigNow. The word is getting out. So they are reaching out. The C-suite of very large companies want to know, how are you doing this? And we are sharing all of our lessons learned, and we'll be offering GigNow direct to our clients.
In order for data-driven operations management to work, we need data. More specifically, we need a broad range of key performance indicators for services, networks, and customers. Data-driven operations sees the big picture, solves the right problems, and finds the answers faster. Successful and efficient data-driven operations rely on having the right information at the right time to make the right decision. The following is a key example of data-driven operations in the sharing economy.
I just joined the culinary job training team, and I'm training right now with my supervisors to teach the culinary class. I've been cooking most of my life since I was a teenager. I'm known around here for my kale salad. When I got here in 2011, I was out of work for almost 3 years. When you first come on board, you're like, this is impossible. You need 100 people to put out 5,000 meals, but I've seen 10 people put out 5,000 meals. You see, the reality of how it can be done. The first few weeks is a little scary because you think you're coming to cook, and the job training program really prepares you for life skills. We have a workforce development team that teaches us how to write resumes, and we do mock interviews. The training program really gives you some insight into what it is to be a professional cook.
The work that we're doing is really far more complex than what people consider. It was probably about 10 years ago when we really started digging in and collecting the data that we had. We had a lot of numbers, we had a lot of data, but they were in different places, in different formats. And the effort, particularly over the last couple of years, has been to bring that together, to use software systems, and to really create meaning out of that data. We needed to have the data, we needed to track it, we needed to monetize it, and we needed to put it in terms that people could understand. One of the first uses of data, specifically with the training program, was finding out who were the successful students. We looked about 8 years ago at when people were either dropping out of the program or when they were asked to leave. We saw 2 spikes. So with that data in hand, we were able to devise a method to get out of it. We said, what can we do? And so we reached out to the community, the hospitality community, and said, if we can create internship programs for these students before they graduate, but while they're still part of the program, while they still have the support of DC Central Kitchen, allow them to prove to themselves that they can do this on their own, we might be able to bring down this spike. And after the first cohort of students that went through that internship experience, we almost completely eliminated that spike at the end of the class. We're working with American University now on a plate waste study in the schools. So we actually track what food products or components of the meals the kids are throwing out most. After we get that data, we'll have 2 or 3 other people that are taking all that data and slicing it up and cutting it into different pieces, and then all of us can get together and use that in the most meaningful way.
We were asked to go to Georgetown to talk to a classroom of college students, and they wanted to know about DC Central Kitchen and the work that we do here. One of my laments is never having gone to college, and there I was standing at the podium about to share my life experience with college students. I was just overwhelmed with gratitude and pride that I have worked hard enough to come to this place to share about my life and my time here at DC Central Kitchen.
The restaurant business is a service industry. It's hospitality. It's about making people happy. It's about taking care of other people and creating community. And that's what we're doing here at DC Central Kitchen.
So we've learned about big data analytics, demand forecasting, and data-driven operations management, all in the sharing economy. But what does the success of the sharing economy have to do with supply chain management?
This is where you get truly into sort of an endless aisle type scenario on the supply side. Lots of capacity being added and resources and infrastructure so that we can get closer and closer to where our consumers are or our partners' consumers are. And then on the sales side, what if our partners on our platform want to sell each other stuff. And then we can micro-target individual consumers. So this is the approach that we're taking at Ingram and how we're jumping the curve. Now, the interesting thing is the last chart, all of those companies I use as examples were all B2C type companies. We're a B2B company. We help businesses grow, right? So the idea is, can we do collaboration with businesses on our platform? And so that's actually the approach we've taken. Getting a little more specific, supply chain is about connecting demand and supply and demand, right? But it gets pretty complex. I'm just going to build this slide. Because what we're doing is we're trying to take product really from any source and get it to really any point of demand, okay? So this could be, like Jules talked about, a network of drop shippers. This could be your warehouse. This could be my warehouse. This could be a competitor of mine warehouse on our platform. This could be your manufacturer or my manufacturer, connected to any retailer, marketplaces. You could sell through my catalog. You could sell through your catalog or a marketplace's catalog. We've built an open commerce platform to be able to, and that's with Shipwire, onboard merchants and brands and retailers onto that platform to be able to leverage this overall supply chain network as well as the connection in so that they can sell in the channels. The goal is to create really shared platform with shared resources, and we're able to make sure that we control all of the quality around that and the ability to control that scale so that it's mapped closely with our partners. So the overall sharing model has been in effect really less than 12 months, right? And these are really older numbers, but what we've seen is order growth of over 100%. We've added 2,500 brands onto the platform in a really short period of time. And then we've connected over 500 facilities, of which none of those new ones were ours, right? So quite a bit of success and early success, but we recognize that we still have a long way to go. I just want to leave you with a couple of key takeaways. Number one, jumping the curve, the concept of it. Companies have to make this a core competency, being able to jump the curve. A, recognize that curve, where you are on the curve, and knowing when it's time to jump and go big. Too often, companies and their hierarchies are actually designed more so to hang on, don't change, and that eventually leads to lack of innovation. So it can't be one of those things where jumping the curve is a hobby. It has to be a competency. Sharing platforms, they're already here. It's not actually new, but we're finding early success in a sharing platform model, getting other businesses to collaborate with each other, including in some cases competitors of ours sharing infrastructure with us and vice versa. But it's here, and I know it's going to disrupt supply chains. And think about the magnitude of that transaction load over time as more and more businesses go digital. So the infrastructure needs to become more of a shared model type approach. And then from our standpoint, we're seeing really good results early on, but we know that there's still a long way to go.
Thanks for watching our video, and I hope you learned a lot about operations management and the sharing economy.